This morning. Welcome to a good, the bad, and the ugly edition of the OHIO podcast. Do us a big favor if you don't mind, everybody. And like the coffee mug says this morning, smash that like button. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Ring the bell. Get notified every time we go live. Directly below this video is a link to our Patreon page. If you haven't already, please consider becoming a member over at Patreon. It's free, or it's $5, or it's $20. It's tiered that way. If you have it and you can afford it to give us $5 or $20 a month, it will help us continue doing what we love to do and what you all appreciate and the content that we create. Please consider doing so. All right. It's out a day late, but we're going to go ahead and throw out the good, the bad, and the ugly of Ohio State's 42-3 win over Minnesota. Admittingly, there is not a lot of bad or ugly about this game to talk about, but let's get into it anyways because we're going to try and we're on a roll with making these things. So let's keep the train a rolling. The good. Let's start with the Tater. Big game for Carnell Tate. We all knew he was a first round draft pick. We all were saying he had first round draft pick talent. It was just a matter of time before he finally showed it. And well, he had the Tate game against Minnesota. That, my friends, will garner him the ability to become a first round draft pick in the NFL draft in 2026. As long as he stays healthy the rest of the year and he continues to produce decent numbers, that game alone right there will be enough to have some GM somewhere say, that's my wide receiver of the future. I'm going to draft him in round number 1, which continues the first round draft streak that we all know Ohio State, through Brian Hartline's recruitment and development, has become a thing of beauty. Ohio State is wide receiver U. 9 catches, 183 yards, and a touchdown on a beautiful long ball by Julian Sain. That was the stat line for the Tater. What a game for my man. Future first round draft pick Carnell Tate. Speaking of Julian Sain, 23 of 27 passing for 326 yards and 3 tutties. We were all asking Ryan Day, Brian Hartline, and this offense to take the kid gloves off the young man. That they did against the gum-chewing PJ Fleck and the Rowan the Bolt Gophers, as Julian Sain has an outstanding game. Only four incompletions, as he has almost a perfect stat line. What a quarterback we are seeing developed right before our eyes. Game number 5, and he already looks like he is a veteran, and things are only going to get better, in my opinion, as they continue to trust and put more on this young QB of the future, and not only the future, but the present as well for the Buckeyes. The more he develops, the better he gets, the better the chances that Ohio State can repeat and become back-to-back national champions for the first time ever in school history. That, my friends, is what we're watching before us take place. It is a metamorphosis, if you will, of a young quarterback becoming a possible Heisman candidate once again, along with Jeremiah Smith and maybe even Carnell Tate at this point. Well, unfortunately, that'll probably mean none of them will win it because they'll steal votes from each other, but he is putting up some nasty numbers right now, 5 starts into his college career. And let's talk about that punt return that was pretty awesome to watch, as Brandon Ennis decides to play a little bit of quarterback on that return, throwing it backwards over to Lorenzo Styles Jr., who then ran up the sideline for like 35, 40 yards, something like that, and gave us a positive return in the punt game that we so desperately needed to see. And Finally, I love it. There's more in that bag. There's more stuff like that in that bag. And now you put it on film, and now teams got to prepare for it, and they got to be cognizant of it. And so you're taking the precious time away from that team to prep their special teams to defend that very play. That's called scheming it up, boys and girls. Let's move over to the bad. There wasn't a ton, but that first drive Minnesota had was a little bit frustrating. We couldn't get off the field. Felt very similar to what we had experienced under Jim Knowles in just about every single game last year when the defense just seemed like they were just going to let that team march right down the field before they decide to make some kind of adjustment and then play lights out for the rest of the game. Very reminiscent of that. We do hold them once we get to the red zone to a field goal. And then the defense put the clamps down the rest of the game, and the Gophers walked away with no more points on the game. If I'm not mistaken, they had well over 50% of their total offense on just that first drive alone. So it's not good. So it means it's going to be bad. It's not ugly, but it's going to be bad. So that was the one bad thing. And then, my gosh, can PJ Fleck be any more annoying with chewing gum? It's a bad day if you're a stick of gum and that man walks into the room. Corey and I were talking about it during the live watch, and if you have a membership with us through Patreon, you not only can listen and watch us in live time watch the game, but you can actually watch the game with us. That's what makes us unique, and it what makes your membership over at Patreon that much more valuable. So, anyways, PJ Fleck chews gum like a cow chews his cud, man. It's insanely bad, and I had to throw it in there because it was a funny part of the live watch. And those of you who watch the live watch with us, you'll know exactly what we mean by that. Now the ugly. Okay, let's get into this. Let's talk about this. We're going to spend the most time talking about this. Chris and I, when we went to the live practices and we got to watch the team in person, we came away and we told everybody from 35 yards in, so about from the 20-yard line in, obviously, red zone, from the red zone in, because you got to add 17 yards to wherever the ball's spotted, 10, and then the 7 of the end zone, 17 yards. So a 20-yard kick is 37 yards, okay, if you do the math. He's automatic. He's automatic. When you get beyond 35 yards, 37 yards, I just put 35 because it's a nice, number. It gets scary for him. He was about 50% that day. He'd make some, he'd miss some. He'd be dead on, he'd be right to the right. He'd be dead on, be right wide to the left. And so far during the season, that rings true. And my intel's telling me that pretty much it's what we're seeing in practice. Some days he's got great practices, other days he's inconsistent. And it is what it is. Jaden Fielding is you can't rely on him to win you a game with a 50+ yard field goal. You can't do it. It's unreliable at that point. Ohio State better not find themselves in a situations where they're relying on Fielding to make a 50-yard field goal to win a game. Because I don't think he might make it, he might not. It's a coin flip. And I don't like those odds as an Ohio State fan. And I don't think Ryan Day likes those odds. It's one of the reasons why I think you're seeing him start to contemplate going forward on fourth down so much. Now, when he gets in the red zone and it's like, hey, man, do I go for it here with my defense and put their backs against the wall, or do I take the points? If I need the points, do I take the points? If he gets inside the red zone, I'm pretty confident Fielding's going to make that field goal. Outside of that red zone, man, I don't know, boys and girls. It gets iffy. That's why it's on here on the ugly. That field goal, he had plenty of leg. He just didn't have the accuracy. And what was it, a 52-yarder or 54-yarder, something like that? it wasn't an easy kick. And why are you putting that on the ugly when it isn't an easy? It's because of the intel I've been getting. It's because of what I've been told. It's because of what Chris and I witnessed with our own two eyes at practice. The man is wildly inconsistent beyond a 37-yard field goal. He just is. And there's no way to sugarcoat that. There's no way to make that seem better or feel any better. That's just the reality of it at this point. And so when you look at that situation, you want to make sure you get that football as close as you humanly can to the red zone so to make that field goal easy and automatic for fielding if indeed it comes down to a situation like that. We don't want another Georgia situation on our hands. I'll just put it to you that way. Okay. All right. This Monday morning's verse of the day comes from 1 Corinthians 13:12. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know even as also I am known. Kind of a mysterious verse in 1 Corinthians, but it's talking about the way we see the future with our own two eyes today. And then if we only knew what really is happening out there and what our future holds tomorrow, when this veil of the world, when this side of eternity passes on for those of us who know the Lord, then we shall be known as we are known, and we no longer will have to look through this world with darkened eyes or unclear vision, but we will see and know exactly what we need to see and know when we get to eternity. Hope you enjoy that verse. Hope you enjoy your day. Thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in and watching. And again, please consider going over to Patreon, becoming a Patreon member and a supporter of this channel. That's the biggest and best way you can support us is heading over to Patreon, becoming a Patreon member, and helping us build the biggest and best Ohio State community right here on the OHIO podcast. Till next time, be kind to one another. I owe someone's OH. Sing Carmen, Ohio with all your heart. You all know what to do. Go Bucks.